Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. Today's guests, I've got a two-piece. They're a very beautiful two-piece and I'm very much looking forward to making two new mates. So I'm going to dive straight in and welcome Isaac and Josh from Decade and a Day.
Woo! I'll cheer us, I guess. Yeah. That was good crowd noise, more than we usually get.
Don't worry, like in post-production, I've got a crowd noise that is just electric,
beautiful.
so you're going to love that.
Yes, sweet. Replicate the gig thing, you know.
Boys, how we doing? It's been a weird world.
Yeah, it's making the best of a bad situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Good attitude.
Yeah.
So I've heard you're writing a lot at the minute. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
That's
Are you
fair.
always
Yeah.
in the
Well,
studio together?
We don't really have a studio. It's all
Wherever
from
we can
home.
fit it, Isaac's grandma's summer house is the usual venue.
Oh, no, our studio used to be just the back of the car.
Yeah, it
So
was.
literally, I'm not gonna lie. Last week, I recorded demo vocals in my car.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Just get voice note on and just go?
I had my laptop and my interface with me, so I literally I
sick.
set that up in the passenger seat, and I was sat in my driver's seat, and I just held the mic and sang.
I'm assuming you didn't have the kids there.
No. I didn't have my kids in the car at that
Not
point.
featuring the kids then?
No,
Not this time.
Not this time.
Do they like your music references and points? Are they into your music?
My stepdaughter actually has my first guitar.
Okay,
It was like
beautiful.
a 3/4 size classical thing that I got when I
man.
was a kid. Like, you know, one of the Argos guitars.
I wish I spoke about this on another podcast, but my first instrument was a guitar. I'm left-handed, but it was a full-size guitar, and also it was like, do you know the strings? They're like wire, like cheese cutters.
Yeah.
And the action from the board was so high off of it, you just had to hold it down as hard as you could. You're like, oh, Dad, stop.
Yeah, not good.
My hands weren't ready for it, so it really put me off doing instruments and things.
Yeah, I
just use this now.
Yeah, I learned on like a classical guitar with like nylon strings.
Oh, perfect.
So that was like really easy.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what you
for
want,
me to just
innit?
start.
Action.
Yeah, my kids both play with that now.
Oh,
That's just
excellent.
like a toy in the house.
I too am left-handed. And I don't play
Hey.
left-handed. Isaac's left-handed too, actually, aren't you?
And I also don't play left-handed.
Yeah, we play
Brothers!
right-handed, lots everywhere. But I learned on a full-size bass, so that was quite awkward. I'm not
Okay.
going to lie. I still can't play a full-size bass now. I still have short scales.
Is this how David Bowie learned, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think he was left-handed but played upside
Yeah.
down. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So tell me, Decade in the Day, like, how many songs have you wrote in lockdown?
It's getting up to like plus 20 now.
20 plus 2 to be exact.
What are you doing, like, together? Like, because you've got lives, you've got kids. Have you got partners still? Or, like,
Yeah.
You've got partners.
Yeah.
But you're just on the phone to each other all the time, like, got another one, got another
Don't
one.
even have time for that. Just quick
The,
messages every
The
5
amount
minutes.
of times that like it'll be like midnight because I do all my like mixing work when everyone else is in bed.
Oh, cool.
So, like, kids will
Always
go to bed at like
grafting.
8 o'clock. My mister will go to bed at about 10 and I'll go into the front room and I'll start like playing guitar.
Oh, excellent.
So the amount of times at like 1 in the morning I'll message Josh like, Josh, I've got another song.
And the amount of times I'll be asleep and be like, Isaac, I'm asleep. I'll look in the morning.
Yeah. But you're like, no, this is the one this time. You've got to wake up.
Every time.
Yeah, I've written a few, the ones.
Oh,
My
really?
favourite one's the like 30-second one.
It's
The
about
ones.
50 seconds. Are you
50-second song.
Are you aware of something called The Game?
Yeah, like, what, to pull women?
No,
No,
'Cause that
You've
used-
just lost the game.
If you're
game.
aware of The Game, you have lost the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that appeared when we were in school. Like,
Really?
Yeah, and it never-
I ain't losing the game. I'm really competitive.
Already
If you're
lost.
thinking about the game, you're losing the game.
So, the
can't keep
50-second
losing
song.
this game.
The only lyrics in it is, I've just lost, and now you've just lost the game.
Mate, this is like when, because I used to be into Blink-182 as a kid.
Yeah, that's
And
you know?
but then I always like I was into like the first stuff and the first album.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realise, but you could turn the CD around and hear like the other side, and it always used to be the crazy stuff like
Yeah.
I wanna fuck a dog, and and I was just like, I couldn't believe
I
it.
played that at a gig in Nottingham.
Did you?
I want to fuck a dog in the ass.
Because because it's quite niche.
Yeah, it didn't go so well.
Didn't it?
No, it was like an old man's pub in like the corner of Snenton.
Oh, mate.
And like
Talk
there was
about
about 3 people, and I was
picking
like,
your
no
moments.
one's fucking listening. I'm just gonna play some stupid shit and see if anyone notices, and they did.
To
Did
be
we do
fair-
Blowjob song live?
Blowjob.
Yeah, one. Yeah, I thought we did
Lads.
that live once.
Did you write that together?
No, it's a Blink
Was it after an
182
experience?
bonding.
Tell me about this time. To be fair, I've done that in a pub local.
Yeah.
And Ripley's quite notorious from where like the EDL came from, BMP.
Yes.
Yeah,
Them
yeah.
areas, Ilkeston,
Yeah,
Hena.
Ilkeston
There-
raised, Hena raised.
There we go. And I was in this pub and they were kind of vibing, but they weren't listening. It's poetry on a Saturday. They're like, come on.
Right. Just play Mr.
Where,
Brightside.
where's tribute band on? But I got asked to go, I think because I was emerging, and at this time I was getting quite a lot of views, whatever that means. I don't know what that means anymore, but back in the day it was a good thing.
Yeah,
So I put a film out and it was like 30,000. I was like, hey, happening. So people had just booked you to come in, but
Yeah.
I don't know what they expected because I was doing poetry and they're like, oh, I didn't expect that.
It's poetry.
Kind of, you watched it on YouTube and now you've got some poetry and you don't want it. But anyway, I was performing this gig and no one was really listening in. So I was like, right, I'm going to do Is Immigration Killing the Nation? Don't worry, I'm saying it's not, don't worry. I'm bringing it round. But then all these guys just looked up and I remember like my heart sinking because they're like, he's doing what? And then I actually got into an altercation from it.
Oh,
We had a bit of
God.
a fisticuffs.
Oh, God.
From a bit of poetry on a Saturday. It was great.
It's
But
because it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
We've gone down fine on like a Thursday.
Thursday's good day.
Yeah. Thursday's
I've
good
played
night.
a few. I played the Thorntrail Marketplace in Ripley.
Yeah.
I played there a few times, and they do not like my stuff.
Really?
They are not into like the pop punk stuff. If I whip out the AC/DC, they're like, okay, cool. But if you start trying to play like Blink 182 and Paramore,
Prussia.
Yeah.
But don't you love as well, like that day in particular, some people really got it as well. And they're like, do you know when you said that thing about we're just on a rock hurtling through infinite space? I've never thought of it like that. Or you playing a song that they wouldn't have necessarily listened to. And then they come up to you and go, do you know what? I actually really appreciated that. I never appreciated it before. That means so much more. Because I got a bit bored of just speaking to the converted or just singing to the choir already. Going to places where they're not into your stuff and having them come over, that's it. That my favourite reaction.
Of course.
Have you had that a lot from where you two have performed and stuff?
Eastwood.
Yeah?
Tap and Growler, micro pub.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Josh,
had-
this was straight up and it
Got
came.
it, yeah, I've got it.
So, are you aware of the DH Lawrence Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who sets that up?
It's Ben Smith and Chris Barlow.
Lads.
Yeah.
Two Roots. Yeah.
Ben's been on here.
Yes, I've seen. Yeah. Well, I was running a stage at the Tap and Growler a couple of years ago.
Excellent.
It's like a micro pub near like the Newthorpe. part of
I've not been there yet. No.
Do you know where the Sainsbury's is?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
opposite there.
Yeah. When you
Um,
say micro pub, you mean micro
This is
pub.
why I've not seen
The
it yet.
stage was like...
The stage was the size
This
of
stage?
this like bit of the bus.
Yeah,
Really?
easy,
Yeah, because we
easy.
use this as a stage, to be fair. But like, is it same as?
Literally.
Yeah.
This
literally.
Was, it was just pallets.
Okay,
Yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
even
on top.
stage. And then
Um,
you got off the stage and there were maybe 20 people in, but 20 people looks like 1,000.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
venue
yeah.
like that.
You'd be allowed
Crammed
maybe
in.
3 people after COVID in there.
I don't even think
Full
that.
on sardines.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what happened at this gig then?
Well, it was your usual punters in a pub.
Yeah.
I know the type. Loud as a motorbike.
And then we got up and we were playing like just out and out like pop punk, like old school style Blink stuff.
yeah.
Muse covers. We did a Muse cover.
Yeah, was it Hysteria that we
Yeah,
did?
it was, because I was doing bass and I wanted to show off.
Oh god, I remember going to see Muse. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're
Muse
so
are
good.
Yeah, so and we had a couple come up to us after, like, I've never really been into that type of music, but you guys just did it so well.
Really?
Like, well, that was pretty cool.
I bet you just lost it at that
Yeah,
point.
it's one of those.
This is what we want to do forever.
Free
Yeah.
beer too. What was where was that guy from? We did a gig in Nottingham and we had a guy from somewhere really far away. I think it might have been Brazil or something.
Oh, hello. Yeah, that's
And,
pretty far. I was thought you were going to say, like,
yeah.
Was
East
it Brazil?
Sussex.
I thought they said Australia, like.
That's
I'm
as
pretty
far
sure
as it goes.
It was Australia because my mum and dad had just moved out to Australia at that time.
Okay.
I was like, oh.
Either way, it was extremely
That
far.
was bloody
and,
good, lads.
bloody good. But they actually drumsticks, picks, autographs, everything.
No
Felt like
way.
little rock stars, you know.
Yeah, you got your
that
moment.
was at the Golden Fleece in
Was
Nottingham.
it?
Yeah.
It was one of them like Knots in a Nutshell nights.
Because
Well,
these are the
that was
moments to live for, aren't they? Like, everyone's so adamant and set on making it and being at the top of the game and these levels. But to have that experience in a nice little pub with 20 people, but you've connected with somebody,
Yeah.
that's to live for, isn't
It
it?
means just as much as the massive gigs that
Yeah,
you play or the
yeah.
big ones or
Yeah.
anything like that.
I've done both stages. I've performed to 10 people and I've performed to once at a happiness festival, but there was 1,000 there. It just kept going
Wow.
on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. But then when I got up there, I was like, this is no different, really. The
If
same
anything,
feeling after.
I've really enjoyed the smaller gigs because like you can literally just talk.
Yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
the audience.
Vibe, have a laugh. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like,
more
I think that's
natural.
what won over those like people at the micro pub.
Yeah. The pub.
'Cause, like, we were like just joking around, having a laugh on stage, and like interacting with them. Like they'd say something, and I'd make a sarcastic comment back.
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
off the mic. And
That's my favourite thing, like when you're watching and being
Yeah.
in the audience, you can have a bit of banter
It
back
just
and
makes
forth.
it's a show.
Because
It
you
should
two
be
have
a
got
show.
you've got good energy and you've got nice personalities.
Yeah.
All right then, Josh.
I try
You don't know
sometimes.
nothing, Mikey.
Yeah, you would have been saying that like 2 years ago, or whatever it was.
boy.
Really? So it's been a bit of a journey then.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we've come
God.
across some.
Have you two just
certain
been
people.
mates for ever? Like
We
that?
met in sixth form.
Yeah, we
Sixth
met in
form.
college, history class.
Where all the good stories start.
Where all the good
Yeah,
stories
really.
Take me
start.
on your journey through
wa-
time.
I walked in with a electric guitar in my back, and it was like, "Oh, do you play guitar?" I was like, "Yeah."
It was a
like,
Gibson case. I just wanted to know if it was expensive
Yeah.
or not, to be honest.
um,
You got money, mate.
yeah, basically.
and then
Buy us a 20 deck.
we ended up like sitting together at the back of class, and that's just where it kind of started for us.
Oh, this is ace.
Yeah.
This is literally how me and my best mate, really. I mean, we'd known each other through school, but then we ended up in sixth form together when all the cool kids left. We were like, we're going down this path.
We can be the cool kids.
Yeah. And I was really outcast then because I was always a social butterfly, but when all my mates went to college, that was it. I was there on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just in the toilet and I was on my own just listening to Hey Mama. Do you know Kanye West, Hey Mama? And it's
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a beautiful song, like, na 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 na, Hey Mama. I remember like Jagger just like walked through the door and was like, what have you got on? And I was like, Kanye West. And we sat in that toilet for hours. I think everyone was like starting to question everything about our existence then.
Just listening for knocking,
Yeah.
you know?
Them lads have been in there for a while listening to Hey Mama.
Didn't expect that one.
Yeah,
Just
but
on repeat for hours.
and that was it. Like we went to Australia for a year together
Wow.
after that.
Oh,
And
nice.
travelled,
Nice.
been around the world, and met my best mate for life now. Just from that
That's
moment,
cool.
music
Yeah.
binds you, doesn't
It
it?
does.
We went to different schools. Like he went to Ilkeston, I went to Kirk
Oh,
Allen.
okay.
Yeah.
So then that's how we ended up in the same sixth form, because like catchment areas and stuff.
I get you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which sixth form was that?
Kirk
at
Allen.
then?
Kirk Allen,
Kirk
yeah.
Allen, you went. You went
Yeah.
over to that.
Yeah, I went over. My grandparents worked there, so.
Good choice. Good
Yeah.
choice.
You know.
And then you made music from that, like.
Yeah, so I was just starting like my first band at that point.
Okay.
I was just finishing my first band at that point.
Oh no! There's always a sub story. One door
so, yeah,
closes,
like-
another door
So
opens.
he was
Yeah.
like, his band were kind of going off it a little bit, and
Yeah.
we were just starting up. And I was like, well, we need a bass player. Like, do you want to come play bass with us?
And I
Okay.
decided I'd take the downgrade from guitar this once because I liked him a little bit, you know?
Like just enough, just enough to get by.
This time, the vocalist wasn't working out, and it was a metal band, and I
Right.
thought, let's do something a bit happier.
So how old were you when you were in your first band then, Josh?
I started my first band at 15.
15.
Did a few gigs at 15, 16, and then I left that at 16 and joined one with
And
Isaac.
your first band was 16.
Yeah, I started it when I was 15 with like a couple of mates, but we never really did anything. It was just we just met up in like
A good idea.
my mate's garage, and we just sort of jammed out covers, and we didn't really do anything. Then when I started sixth form, I met a vocalist who was like really into it. I was like, Okay, cool.
He had a lovely beard. He did. For a 16-year-old.
For a 16-year-old, crazy.
His beard was like mine is now, but at 16.
But 3 times longer as well.
Well, by the time he was 17, it was literally like down here.
Just kept going.
Yeah.
Just kept going. He's going to be Gandalf.
To be fair, that was me in primary. I was going. We had to, swimming and that.
Yeah.
We always had to go swimming, but I was the only one like pubes out here, like armpit hair.
70s style.
Yeah, everyone just kept looking like, Mikey, what's happened? I don't know. No, the voice never dropped though. That was the only thing. Like, still waiting for that.
I'm
Sorry,
still
lads.
waiting now.
Yeah.
And I'm 22 now.
It's coming. It's
Coming eventually. Work on the beard.
So the songs you're writing at the minute, like, do you know in pop punk, is it much about the lyrics? Is lyricism a big factor, or do you just sort of write for writing?
Well, to a degree, like I want a blowjob from your mum's probably not the best lyric.
Yeah,
It doesn't
there's
have to be, is the thing
elements.
here.
Yeah.
It is, but it doesn't have to
Have
be.
you got a variety then? Stuff that you think, oh, this means something. This is family or wholesome.
We have some stuff that's very much like wholesome, happy, positive vibes.
What was one of your lines I heard the other day? Like, if it's raining, I'll be your umbrella.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
pouring
quite
down, I'll
nice.
Yeah, that was about my girlfriend, so I thought I'd
Okay.
write it nice.
Yeah, I
happy
felt that.
But
Yeah.
then, like on the album, in fact, on the EP coming up, we've got one called SOS, for instance, which is about dealing with depression, about being on your very worst day and
Oh,
how
bless.
that feels, and so there's a wide range of topics, definitely, and then the game. You just lost the game. Anyone listening lost it twice already. Come on.
This is I'm going to be the biggest ever loser of the game. I'm going to be so good at losing the game.
Before you lose it, we lose it because we think of it, so it's fine.
Yeah. You wrote the song. That's the irony.
Yeah, and then we also have a song, "Story of a Boy and a Girl," which is literally just a hypothetical story of like your typical American high school
Can
sort
vibe.
of relationships and breakups and stuff. Just a very cartoony, like a Netflix style
I get you.
lyric.
Yeah.
Did that
sort of
come
thing.
from inspiration from a cartoon?
It was no.
Bit of
It
Rick and
didn't.
Morty
It was
on.
just.
Oh, hang on.
It was just sort of a thing that I was thinking about one day. I was like, that'd be an
So
interesting.
let's go story mode on this.
Yeah, like
I love following a story.
like the first
writing.
that whole sort of idea came from the first line because I've written this music. I was like, I was just playing it, trying to think of like words, and the first line is "Welcome to the verse." I was like, that's a pretty cool intro to a song.
Yeah.
And then it's like let's take it from like a narrator's point of view because you don't really hear many songs like that.
You guys being all artsy.
That one was entirely him.
Well, that was written like 3 years ago.
It's
Yeah,
amazing,
in
isn't
our old
it?
band,
Like-
and we never did anything with it. So when we started this project, I kind of just took the found it final from like my old laptop.
Okay.
And I was like, how can we take this but make it our genre now?
Mate, right.
It worked really well, I think.
And so there's the two-piece, literally two-piece band.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's it like on stage? Is there a lot of energy? Is it a bit crazy?
We're still figuring that out at the minute,
Right.
I guess.
We've only done one stage show, and
Right.
that was good. There were always points to improve on anyway.
Because
Yeah.
we were kind of running to a backing track, and we didn't have like.
Did you make
any-
the backing track then?
Yeah.
So you've done all the instruments on it.
Yeah, I do the drums and the synths, and then we both do guitar and vocals.
This
Yeah.
is sick.
And then the bass is kind of just around the guitar sort of
Bass
thing.
is just whatever's
So you
happening.
take your Mac with you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
press play,
yeah,
and then what have you two got on you?
guitars and
Guitar,
vocals.
Just
Vocals,
guitars and vocals.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So like bass guitars, drums, and like synths and all that sort of stuff is all on the tracks.
Right. What do you record on? Do you use Logic? It's good. isn't it?
Yeah. I love the
logical.
sequencing.
Yeah, it really is. It's so simple.
Just makes sense.
Like all the sequencing and like the synths and midis and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like really cool. Like I use a lot of MIDI drums for like demos. and
This is
like
what I did in lockdown. I was just looking on like lo-fi track making, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's quite easy to make a track in a day with lo-fi as well. You only
Yeah,
need
of
like
course.
8 channels, and that's about
Yeah.
a whole track done.
So like using that and relying on that just run from start to finish of your set, you have to really plan out your set in like your timing gaps. And like we probably could have done with some shorter gaps in places and some longer gaps in other
Right.
places.
It's good that you're like figuring all this out
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
You're in the
When-
exciting part of
when
the
we
music.
first started like our old band, when it was kind of a similar thing, but we had a drummer and we weren't playing to tracks, we had a lot more sort of fun and energy,
Free range as
Yeah,
well.
because like we could take a bit longer with like jokes on stage and just
Next time we're just going to put cues on, though. We'll just put cues in next time. I'm thinking like a rubber duck or something.
What sort of things went wrong, let's say, or weren't quite clicking? What?
Well, just trying to get you talking out of the way before the next track starts.
Because it's all on like, what do you call it, like a playlist.
Yeah, so we had just one Logic session up with all of our tracks in a row. And then
started go. I get it.
And like you left certain gaps of talking, like, oh, hey, we're Decade in the Day and stuff. But then sometimes you might have like 5 seconds between when you finish talking in the next.
It'd be sick if you got a mate who just could do like a little bit of DJ.
In not our last band, but the band before.
We should probably start using names. Public Conscience.
I was gonna start asking what was this band?
So Public Conscience, we used backing tracks, but our drummer controlled it. So like he'd press play, we'd do the song, he'd press stop, we'd chat.
Yeah.
We'd press play, that sort of thing. And that worked really well.
That's cool, yeah. That's how my favourite band, Fat Freddy's, they've just got this, he looks like, the stereotypical like Hawaiian big fella that you know.
Yeah.
He's in the
big
back
Samoan.
with the Mac on, and I know he just presses a button, but he's like what the base the band around as well. He just looks cool. Even though everyone else, I'm sure, has got all the talent and the quality, he's just the face of it.
It's a mascot.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe we should get a mascot.
Yeah.
Why not an ostrich?
No, well,
why not?
Never thought about that before.
I don't know, just off the top of my head, I think an ostrich.
And I'm sure there could be some deep metaphor within this too.
Yeah, we'll find something. Yeah. Something.
We can use this.
Yes, the deep metaphor. We thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Literally, 90% of our decisions.
That's the
90% of what we do is. Thought it'd be funny.
It's jokes.
Jokes.
Why did you say that? A laugh.
Surprised we didn't name this band jokingly. This is like the last one we did.
So, and why is it called Decade in a Day? Have you?
No real reason. We were just trying to think of cool names.
Decade in a Day.
And we were like...
So you had a little hour sit down together,
yeah,
did you?
like doing the movie voiceover, what sounds good, and it ends up like Decade in a Day.
Yeah.
Sounded really epic. So we've got it on our intro, and we've got a friend who's a voice actor who's training to be.
Oh, excellent.
So we've got like a big live intro, and it's like through the fires of lockdown. So dramatic.
From some bands you've never heard of.
Are you quite heavily influenced with the music scene and the art scene and the creative? Have you got lots of creative people in your lives that?
Yeah.
So
because the artwork's quite cool as well and everything. Like
I do all the artwork.
Oh really?
You've done
busy boy.
I've done a couple of bits upcoming, and my missus is a photographer, so
amazing.
we get photography from that, which is quite useful.
Because you've seen recently, like the recent statements from the government, like if you're into arts, why don't you just pick something else? So if like your life's basically centered around arts and people and music.
Yeah, I'm getting into graphic design at the minute.
What's your thoughts on that? How are you feeling towards it?
I'd give him a big 2 fingers.
Yeah.
I think just because live music isn't allowed doesn't mean there aren't other areas like studio music. Why shouldn't we still produce music?
100%.
You know what I mean? Live streams, I think live streams are going to be the way forward.
Yeah,
I really do.
I think they'll be more popular even after the pandemic at this point, especially for starting out bands and things.
I don't think it's quite where it needs to be yet with live streaming. Like with the not necessarily the technology. I think the technology's there, but the method of
the way it's being used.
Yeah, I don't think they've found the most. What's the word I'm looking for? The most
efficient.
Most efficient way of using the technology to broadcast a live stream.
It does seem quite contrived when you're watching it. I'd like them to make it feel more wholesome. Do you know, if like you've got all the musicians in the same place together and you can make it feel that energy.
Exactly, it can be a
recreate
show.
that. Yeah, make it a show.
Yeah,
Isaac's grandma was on our last one actually.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
This is what we're after.
But yeah, I think maybe like a new platform needs to come about specifically for that sort of thing.
It's just a very simplistic and small-minded way of looking at it. Like, it's not working, find something else. It's like, okay, right, this is our life, this is our livelihood, this is how we express, this is the way that we engage with one another.
Yeah, this is how we feel better.
Exactly.
Therapy.
Literally, like, mental health is on the peak of all peaks at the moment.
Yeah.
And your solution to having a better livelihood livelihood, better lives, is to take something that's the only saving grace we've got away from us.
Exactly.
Are you mental?
Do one
Instead of like you're just expressing then, why can't we find new ways of doing this and new ways of sharing it? And
why can't companies, hate to name, but like Spotify, be made to pay a better wage to musicians, to streams, things like that as well? I mean, that's where the government could help.
Well, it's just crazy. Like the money is clearly there, and this is in America in particular. But there was just a moment where they needed to fork out all this money for like big corporations, big business, and they had it there in the second. I think they did it in the UK, but they managed to like bring them out of bankruptcy in a second.
literally.
And so you're like, oh, hang on, the money was there then. You've just like put a little facade on for this time.
Well, it's like hunting. Even hunting's being bailed out. Like you can hunt in groups of 30 right now, and that's preposterous when you can't have 30 people for a show, you know?
There's not much room for conversation at the minute, is there? Because you've got two ends of the spectrum. You've got this is all there is, let's believe everything they're telling us, or you've got everything's a conspiracy, let's just go on this line. And you need to go, right, there's a nuance to all this. Let's have conversations, let's think about it, and let's have real talk, I
borrow
suppose.
a term from wrestling,
Hey!
shades of grey.
Shades of grey.
It's not black, it's not white, it's somewhere in the middle. Everything's somewhere in the middle. But everybody's thinking black, everybody's thinking white, and they're headbutting over it.
It's dangerous.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I kind of sit in the middle. Like, I don't believe it's as bad as they're telling us, but I know to an extent it is.
I'm with you.
I appreciate we're in a second wave. I appreciate a lot more cases are coming back positive, but there are a lot more people being tested than there were in the first wave, and the hospital admissions and the deaths are still really low.
And again, it is them small things like somebody could have been ran over with, but had COVID, and they're still treating it as a COVID death, related death. You're like, hang on a minute.
Plus, I don't trust Microsoft Excel to be running the concentration, you know?
All them viruses.
Mate, I worked as an accountant for 2 years
virus-ridden,
on
looking
Excel.
after something virus-ridden.
Yeah, you're used to Excel. You could do it if you want.
I could. I mean,
ask the
I still wouldn't trust Excel, and I used it for 2 years as an accountant. Like,
really? You would be an accountant for 2 years as well?
yeah.
Blimey, man, you've done a bit of everything, haven't you? What are you doing now?
I'm a music student at the minute, and then I deliver like Chinese on the side.
Can you make a good Chinese?
Probably could. I've never tried it, to be honest.
Why did you write down cooking? What was like the big factor of...
You're a massive fan of cooking.
Really?
I cook every day, all the time. I love cooking. Recently, I tried to cross the cupcake with the cookie to interesting results. I'll say that much.
Say this again, the cupcake to the cookie.
Yeah, I tried to cross the cupcake and the cookie.
Interesting.
So I put a bit more baking powder in a cookie dough, and then I put it in cupcake cases. That's my most recent foray.
So you wanted them to look like cupcakes, but be cookies?
Yeah. Kind of
Sick
crispy
idea.
outside. It worked really well, actually.
Really?
I was quite shocked. Biscoff spread on top, you know.
I like
and
it
they were
when people
accidentally
come up
vegan.
with like random combinations, and they're just like, hey, like, mine was a Marmite and hummus.
Oh wow!
On
that
toast.
actually kind of sounds like
honestly,
it
was such a powerful taste.
Yeah,
the taste was just went. Hang on a minute, but for me, I'm a lover. But yeah.
I went through a phase of making cupcakes, but with sweet chocolate pastry cases. So the case was edible as well.
That's a genius.
Yeah.
Just because you just get it all in.
So like bakewell top, but like extra.
Yeah. So like it's like a bakewell top, but they're like that tall.
That sounds
like muffins
beautiful.
Almost. Yeah, it was.
Daddy.
I put bits of Kit Kat Chunky in my cake.
Just look at Josh as well.
Dude, stop doing this to me.
There's this new shop that opened up, and it's for desserts, and then suddenly like all these dessert places
they're
open.
popping up all over.
Or I don't know why do they go coronavirus? Right, this is dessert time.
Hey, because nobody cares. Like summer bodies haven't.
That's
this
it.
Year, so.
Sorry, I'm just gonna live my best life.
Yeah.
Give me 3 milkshakes.
Fine.
But we went there, and they had like all these amazing combinations you could have. There was Kit Kat Chunky, Twiddle, everything. But then we had it, and I was like, the one thing you do is milk. That's all they do, milkshakes. But they just knackered it up. It was just like dead milky.
Oh,
it had no
like
substance to
liquidy.
it. Yeah, and it had like all the bits were just coming through the straw. I won't name them because like I hope you do all right, guys, in this crazy time. But it was naff.
The chef in me hates to say this, but McDonald's unfortunately nail the milkshakes.
They've done well, haven't they?
McDonald's
like, that is,
kill it. Oh
like,
my God.
I always think, I don't really want one, and then I'll have a sip, and I'm like, Right, we've got to go back through
now.
that. Yeah, we've got to go back round.
I dip my chicken nuggets in it as well.
Oh, seriously? I've heard that's a good idea.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Why?
It just, the way it takes the sweet, chicken's really bland anyway, so it just takes the sweet really well and a bit of salty from the batter.
Is there a particular flavour of milkshake that works with chicken nuggets?
Strawberry. I've tried them all. Chocolate's way too overwhelming. Banana's just odd.
Put them all together. Yeah. Have you ever put like a banana and a strawberry milkshake together?
Yeah. I've tried
you've done all the combinations.
I've had all three of them before.
I used to do that as a kid. Like we had the Nesquik powders in my grandma's house, and I used to put like chocolate, strawberry, and banana all in one.
Oh wow! What did it end up like?
Weirdly nice. Like
every sip's different.
The chocolate works really well with like the banana and the strawberry independently, because like obviously if you have strawberries in a chocolate fountain, you'll dip it in. Banana and chocolate's kind of cool.
I bet if you had like, you could set a custard with banana, let's say, and then you could have chocolate angel delight, and then a strawberry milkshake on top, and then you've got 3 consistencies and flavours, so you could mix it and layer it, and it'd look really cool.
This really is business for you.
Yeah, this is business. This is all I do with my free time.
Have you worked in
never, and
before?
I never would. I don't like the pressure. I'll cook for friends. I'll cook for myself.
Have you been in one though, like as a pot washer or anything?
No, never.
It's scary.
I used to work as a pot washer.
Really? Yeah.
George's on the A610.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Another Thorntree. I used to work there as pot washer. That was like my first job.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
It was horrible. I always found it dead overwhelming because like they had like 5 or 6 chefs. They have like 7 or 8 waitresses and waiters and stuff, and just one pot washer for all of that. Like, come on, dude.
I was the same. I was always the last to go. I was working at the what's the golf club called? Morley Hayes.
Yeah.
That one. No, it's Horsley Lodge. I worked at.
Okay. Other one.
The even nicer one. But I was the pot washer there, and I would literally be going home at like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh,
they had weddings and a restaurant.
Yeah.
They would have like 10 waitresses on. There's had about 8 chefs, but I was the one guy taking all that in. They always used to be like, "You're dead slow at it." I'm like, everywhere I move, there's another plate.
Yeah, exactly. It's just.
But I remember like our chef, every shift, and I mean every shift, had one of the waitresses crying.
Oh,
just
God.
in some way. It was just so
I've watched
mean.
enough Gordon Ramsay to understand.
Angry. I don't know why you need to be that angry, but it literally goes like, for me, like military, like Marines, army, chefs. And there's like that level of like
makes sense,
intensity.
Yeah, where was it you said? Was it Horsley Lodge?
Horsley Lodge.
I had a delivery down there like a few months ago, like Chinese delivery.
Oh, really?
And this was on a day
Somebody
where
didn't get their order in.
I couldn't really be bothered. I really
pay
couldn't be bothered to like go to work, so I was just in like joggers and like a hoodie. I was like, and I walk into this really posh hotel with a Chinese delivery bag, like, "Oh, I've got a delivery." And then just people in suits just looking at me like,
"Oh, mate,
should have put your hood up and everything."
And do you know what? Isaac? They definitely judged you, right?
"Oh God, yeah."
Really
and I
did.
definitely did not care.
Yeah. When did you get that attitude about you? Stop caring.
Oh, it was probably.
I want the exact moment.
Okay, I can tell you the exact moment. It was in 6th form. It was our old guitarist Dan. He had a girlfriend at the time who was just the biggest pain in the arse.
Okay,
like you know, one of those like, "Oh, I need you to be here at that time. I'll do this. I'll do that."
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go to brand practice
no,
until an hour
didn't.
after it's supposed to start because I want to see you. And that was the time. It was we had a practice. It was like 3 hours long or something in Derby, and he showed up an hour late and was like, "Oh, sorry, Shannon wouldn't let me leave." I was like,
wouldn't let you leave.
She wouldn't let him leave for band practice
in my little mental cage.
Yeah, so, and that was the point. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, do you know what? Just do your thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
I can't be arsed anymore. That was the point that I was like, right, life can be a bitch. Just let people deal with it.
And that was when he stopped wearing underwear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My guy.
Trip.
So free round here. I think mine was in Australia, but mine was all self-related because I'd been on a heavy night out, and I remember just waking up to about 30 people that were trying to get into this one room. They were seeing what had gone on. It was like a dorm. And I'd somehow locked myself in it. Oh, but then I'd woke up in the morning and I'd just have vomit all over me. I think there was probably other bits and bobs there. I don't know what gone on. I opened the door and everyone's just like, "You are a disgrace." But instead of like hating myself and my life and just thinking game over, I just like, worst things happen out at sea. And that was it. That was my moment. I just like lived on from there. I was like, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, it happens.
Life happens.
Yeah, you just got to be chilled out about stuff, you know. There's no point letting it get to you because, well, it's only going to get to other people. Then.
Is that how you take that energy onto stage with you guys to try and just go, right, we're going to give the best performance we can do, but do you get a lot of anxiety beforehand? Do you still get
Not
nerves?
anymore. I used to.
Yeah.
Used to like in my first few shows. Then I was gigging everywhere and anywhere that I could, and by that point I just got to the stage where I'm just going to go on and have fun. If other people love it, then cool, that's wicked. But if they don't, I'm still going to have a good time, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
The main anxiety I get is gear. Like, that's the only anxiety that I'll ever have is this going to work all show? But, you know, that happens to everybody.
It's always technology that lets you down at the last, isn't it?
I feel like I'm 80,
the
I'm
last
telling
gig
you.
I played with Take 96, which is the last band I was in before Decade.
Taking the album out right now.
Nice.
Josh is still there, if you can't tell.
So I'm plugging the album.
Oh,
I've got
come
25 of them in my room and I need to shift them. So we've got a website, we've got a Facebook, Take 96.
Is it on Spotify as
On
well?
Spotify, yeah, called Take a Knee.
And you've
came
got
out in April.
like actual albums as well.
We've
like,
got an actual full album out, yeah,
Nice.
and an extra single too.
Yeah, it was...
opportunist. I like it.
Got to plug when you got to plug.
Yeah, baby.
we just finished our last day of recording that album in Mansfield, and we got a show in Nottingham at the Tap and Tumbler.
Yep. Okay.
We were like a replacement band for one of the Metal to the Masses competitions.
We were not metal.
A band dropped out, and like the promoter just put a status up like, can anyone play this show? Like, you don't have to enter the competition, we just need a band to fill the slot.
That's what I love about you two.
And we were just
so
like-
ready for anything.
We were just like,
I want to do a podcast. I'll do anything.
He'd finished his parts. He was at work when I saw this. I was in the studio with the drummer, and I was like, Jeremy, are you free tonight? He was like, yeah. And I was like, right. I rang the vocalist, like, are you free tonight for a show? He was like, yeah, all right. He was at work, tried to call him, didn't answer, obviously.
Of course not.
I rang his shop. So I rang his shop and made his boss put him on the phone
Really?
to ask him if he could do this gig.
Oh, bless.
And then I went and picked him up as soon as the minute he finished work and took him to the gig.
Yeah, it was a run. It was one of those.
Are you always ready for it as well? Do you just want to do music
You've gotta
where you
be.
can?
You've got to be, otherwise you're not going to get these off. The best shows that I've ever played are the ones that have just come like that day.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe a
Spontaneous
week
and just
before.
happen.
Yeah, but at this gig, I had 2 guitars with me because I've been in the studio, right? I didn't need one for the set. I was like, okay, I can make this work. And I picked up my favourite one. It was in a lower tuning, so I was trying to tune it up. And during soundcheck, when I was tuning it up, my highest string snapped.
Rightio.
I was like, right, so I've got to use my hollow body guitar that does not do anywhere near heavy. But I'll make it work.
I've got my ukulele somewhere.
So I picked up that guitar and I made it work until like 3 songs in when the strap block just came out of the guitar. Like, I'm talking like the actual screw that was holding it in
Right.
fell out.
Just holding the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I ended up like, for this remainder of the song, it was in the intro that this happened, by the way. And I was just like, I had my foot on the monitor, I was just holding it on my knee, trying to play. Then I had to swap my guitar back to the first guitar that I snapped a string on, and I played the rest of the show with 5 strings.
Nice.
What else did you forget? What else didn't you wear on the show, Isaac?
Shoes.
Shoes.
I actually feel comfortable if I don't have shoes on. I know a lot of
shoes.
I've played-
Really?
I played many a show with no shoes on.
Yeah.
There was a
But
gig.
you literally just forgot them on this occasion.
I know, I had them on, and then
Okay.
I got so fed up with my
'em off.
gear.
They're
I was
gone.
like, oh, you know what? These can fuck off.
I hate my gear so
Um,
much I'm not wearing shoes.
Oh no, my shoelace came undone.
Did it?
Yeah, my shoelace
makes
came
more
undone,
sense.
and one of them was falling off. So I was like, well, if that one's coming off, I may as well take the other one off.
Take 96 Shoes You've Left Behind. That's an actual single. It's on Spotify now.
Look at Josh. Always there, baby.
You
ready to
gotta.
plug, ready to go. Josh,
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
Can we get into the wrestling days?
Yeah, we can get
because
into
that's
wrestling.
exciting for me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
I was saying in the kitchen, do you know, like, to society's norms or how people value things, I love what they would go, that's weird though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
of
Like,
course.
as soon as somebody tells me I'm into this and it's something you don't usually hear, I'm like, tell me what you got.
I mean, it's amazing. So there's a school in Nottingham. It's called House of Pain, which is a very warm, inviting name, you know, as per
of
usual.
Pain, yeah.
It's run by a man called Paul Sticksgrint. Hi, he's lovely.
Is he definitely watching this?
I'll try.
Come on, yeah.
I'll try.
Jam it in his face.
So every week we go, it's COVID safe, and you learn the basics. You just kind of wrestle around, and the friends that you make from it's fantastic as well.
So is it... Right, so there's two different styles of wrestling, isn't there? You've got WWE. Professional. Whereas, because you like South Park, don't you?
I love South Park.
There we go. We've got a ground point.
Right
have you seen that wrestling
episode? Season 13. I'm on
the episode where the teacher is like, "That's not wrestling.
That's not wrestling." Yeah, that's amateur wrestling. That's more in high schools in America, as strange as it sounds.
Right.
I'm doing the WWE style.
So do you have like storylines and stuff then? Or will that come?
That'll come. We're training at the minute. I'm training, but I can't wait for the storylines. I've got a tag partner who asked me to plug him for no reason.
Amazing.
So his name's John Huckle.
For no reason. Hey John.
Hey John, I love you, dude. So he's
Keep on
got
wrestling, brother.
But it's quite an inspiring story. He's got cerebral palsy, so can't walk very well naturally.
Right.
But it's amazing when you can see him in the ring, jumping around.
From their predisposition or whatever it is, their disability, but then they go into the absolute like polar thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. And like, because it's professional wrestling and because it's fake, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It means I can, you can help him up. You can kind of, it's working as a team. And it's
I got
fantastic.
you, John.
I got you. Looking like I'm about to rip his head off,
So, like, what was the moment that made you go into wrestling? Why were you
probably at like 2 years old?
Really?
When my mum put it on TV, and like I've watched it ever since. Always followed it.
Did you like wrestling, Isaac?
I've never got into it.
Never ever.
I've tried.
I have sat down and like watched it. I think I've even watched it with you at some point.
Probably.
I just never really.
I got banned from watching it because I went it was too animalistic for me, too into my nature. And then they're like, I was there like, so I'm 27. So like the old days.
Yeah, the Attitude. It's called the Attitude Era, the 90s.
Is it?
It was like mad.
Kane, Rey Mysterio, Big Show, the big boys.
Lots of weird boobs and everything all over the show. It was not for kids at that point.
Why did I like it so much? But then I remember like I'd be watching it in the kitchen at my grandma's, and I just end up breaking things. I'm like, he's gonna kill him. My grandma was like, is Simpkins on? I think we'll go with that.
Let's stick that on. The amount of times that I've like hit people with anything lying around as a kid, because I was like, I'm going to be a wrestler, hit you with a chair.
Biting myself.
Yeah,
Can you remember backdoor wrestling as well? Backyard wrestling. That backdoor wrestling, that sounds like a show that I watched the other day.
That sounds like an illegal channel.
I was on a long search. But backyard wrestling, we used to get so injured from doing that. We were playing Jackass and backyard wrestling.
Same thing, basically, wasn't it?
Doing front flips onto
everything
tables.
In me, this bus, it's amazing, but everything in me wants to just jump off of it, that kind of thing.
And you just scream something just beforehand.
Yeah.
You've got a catchphrase.
So I'm going to wrestle as Joshua Ginger. That's my plan.
Joshua Ginger. And then you give yourself that name, or do you have like a sensei?
Give myself that name. My sensei probably would give me that name anyway, but it's marketable,
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Isn't that also your news name?
Yeah, that's also my news name. I keep it separate from music.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I actually designed his logo for Joshua Ginger.
Oh, cool. What's the logo like?
It's very Anchorman-esque.
Yeah, it's just action font, if I could describe it in 2 words.
You've got your logo on now, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got my Decade in a Day
that's
shirt
Decade
on.
in a Day.
I also designed this logo.
Guys, we're all walking brands right now. I like
unfortunately,
it.
My Chemical Romance for me, but
Yeah, it's close enough.
It's close enough, it'll do.
Still a brand,
Yeah.
So have you ever been hurt in wrestling?
I got jumped in Nottingham last year, and I
quite
broke
legit,
my nose.
like
legit jumped.
For money, for phone,
just jumped,
just doing you
for
in
the fun. Yeah, so my nose got broken.
Oh,
basically.
Waiting from a night out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on a foggy Tuesday night at 3 a.m.
Painting me a picture.
Yeah,
let me play some like instrumental. It was a foggy Tuesday night.
Foggy 3 a.m. Tuesday night. 3 men leave a pub and start punching me.
Wow. Okay.
But I broke my nose, and I was at wrestling the next day, and I took a slightly dodgy. One of my friends kind of jumped at me, and I caught them wrong and elbow straight to the nose. So that one was a bitch.
There's no pain like
Started
that.
It just poured as well. Like,
didn't you like injure your wrist as well or something? Because I'm sure we had a show like.
Yeah, that was when I was
day
jumped.
after that, or like a week after that, and you you were really struggling to play because you'd done your like.
Yeah, I
your
sprained my
thumb in or
wrist
something.
as well because when I got punched, I kind of landed awkwardly
Okay.
on it. And
they did a full doing over then.
yeah, and I did a show with a sprained wrist and like a really bruised.
How many come to the
hand.
show? How many would you have at a typical show?
That was a music show, not a wrestling
music show.
show.
Okay. Have you done a wrestling show?
I've not done
No.
one yet.
This is
hyped
when
to
Ginger
start.
Josh is ready to come out and do his debut.
I'm going to do a tag, I think, with that friend that I mentioned, a lad called John, and just an interesting tidbit, because of his illness, he wants to wrestle under the name Andy Cap. Just thought I'd get that one out there.
we had a comedy show on comedy night, and this guy came on, and he had cerebral palsy, but the guy who came on was he played the music as he came on for too long and he couldn't get it to turn off, and the guy came on and goes, and I thought I was disabled.
That's amazing.
I was just like, mate, when you just own yourself, it's so cool. Yeah, I love people like that.
Self-deprecating humour.
I never got. I wished I was like that as a kid, because I was like bullied all the time for being like, I was quite a big kid, whatever it was, and I wished I had that about me where I could have just like owned it and had a laugh about it and turned it back round, and then they'd be like, "You are
being ginger,
Yeah.
you have to. You get Ron Weasley, Ed Sheeran, all that shouted at you like every day.
They love it, don't they? Bullies, really. They just thrive for you to like go back at them, and then they've got ammo. But if you're just like, yeah, baby, look at my boobies, and they're like, oh, okay.
When someone calls me Ed Sheeran, I just start singing at this point, I think.
You've got your ammo built up for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I always wear shorts, and that every day I was going around Ripley, and everyone's like, "Cold for shorts, innit? Why are you wearing shorts again? Hey up, mate." Always wearing shorts. So one day I was just like, right, I'm gonna sit there and think about what can I say to people when they're coming up with like this short comment, and I'm like, training for the Winter Olympics. And then I was like, okay, not good enough. And then I was like, if you want to see summer, be summer. And that was my best. I think that was my because it was
good.
quite inspirational as well.
You could have wore women's cycling shorts and gone up a notch. That would have been the other way. I would have got back at them.
I wasn't willing to give it that much dedication. I wasn't willing to go in too deep.
Could have given it the wiggle and everything, just like you bet your ass I am.
I'll have witty statements and little remarks, but I'm not willing to change my whole appearance just
Not
to
changing the game.
just to
I used
go.
to get taken the make out of for being very tall.
You still do by me.
Yeah,
But that's because you're really small.
Yeah, I bet we're the same height.
5'8".
Hey,
we
brother.
actually are. Nice.
Yeah, that's quite a weird look on stage. Like,
What are you, 7'4", 7'5"?
I'm like 6'3". I'm 6'3" and I'm just massive, and you're very quite like.
What's the weather like up
scrawny,
there?
you're skinny
Yeah.
and you're like
Slim,
small.
slim.
Good words. Good
Sexy.
words.
We'll go sexy.
So like seeing us next to each other is a very sort of like big cook, little cook.
Yeah.
That would be a great band name.
Why didn't you go with that band name? Right, guys. Game over for a decade in the day.
We are
Big
now
Cook, Little
Big
Cook.
Cook, Little
Because you
Cook.
look a little bit like that guy.
I think we might get like sued by the BBC or something.
It's
But
so working.
It's fine.
Oh, mate, before school, that was my show. Big
Yeah,
Cook, Little
same.
Cook. And Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh, yeah, that was the shit. Barney. I used to like Barney.
That guy must be a famous singer. Because he's got a voice and a half. Do you know, like, the bear, the blue, and the big
Yeah,
blue
like the Goodnight
house.
Moon song. What was it?
Goodbye.
Yeah,
goodbye.
yeah.
Was it that one? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just beautiful. Like, he
Like-
sounds like Ed Sheeran.
Like, damn, dude.
Do you know if they like
Wouldn't
took
it?
his mask off or like his little bear head? I bet it's some
It
like
was James
famous
after
guy.
all.
Yeah, some real guy under there.
I really want to know who that is now.
That's what we got. I wish I had a Jamie on my podcast. Like Jamie's on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Right, okay, yeah.
But he can just like search up anything he asks for.
We'll
I
get the
need
Google
somebody
machine
like
out
that.
after, It's fine.
Yeah.
You just need someone right at the back of the the front of the bus.
Hey, Jamie. Who was the big blue house fella? That's all I need.
In fact, there's two of us. Isaac, you keep busy. I'll Google.
Have you seen that one recently about Neil Buchanan is supposed to be Banksy?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of rumours about that.
What's your thoughts?
Can't be.
It's not, is it?
No.
He was like Banksy's been for a long time as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Banksy was around when like Art Attack was. On,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm
Neil
thinking.
Buchanan was in a heavy metal band in the 70s, though.
You joking?
No, I'm really not. He was in
Hit
like
me
a
with
glam
it.
rock band. I
Really?
cannot remember the name, but it's on YouTube. Like if you Google Neil Buchanan band, he really was. He's a guitarist in a glam rock band.
Sick! I love
Crazy.
stuff like that.
This
Is
is
it
why
any
I'm
good? Have
friends
you
with
seen
Josh
it?
because he just
It's
comes
alright,
out with
it's
loads
80s
of like
glam rock.
useless shit that's
Yeah.
actually really interesting.
Useless shit is all I'm
Bear
after.
in the Big Blue
Yes.
House. He's a guy called Noel McNeil. He's an American puppeteer. He is singer. Singer is listed on here.
He's sick. He's a
So,
good guy.
Yeah, no, I can't see anything about
Nothing
anything
else he's done
sang.
in his backlog.
No, there's quite a few shows. Old Dogs, he was in Old Dogs apparently. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, he was Raphael.
Oh, sick. Okay, yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been on loads of Muppet stuff.
Okay, well, thank you, Josh.
That's
Do you want a job?
That's the second podcast
Second
we've been
news,
on,
man.
and the second time he's been offered a job.
just whip your phone out.
Yeah,
and
just whip my phone out. It works.
bring out
Literally,
random facts, and you're like,
in the
okay.
first podcast we did for Knots Rockcast, he mentioned he was starting a journalism course, and he just offered him a job as a
Straight up there.
Straight up, that easy.
I need intel on people. Well, I can do that.
Yeah,
Sorted.
yeah, yeah. Give me an
utility
Instagram.
man.
Utility man.
What
Speaking
other
of-
random facts have you got, Josh? Because I reckon there's a few up the sleeve.
God.
I did see. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I did watch Game of Thrones, yeah.
What was Tyrion? Tyrion's in a band as well.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
I
in a
didn't know
punk
that
band.
one.
Yeah, go and
Peter
search that one up.
Dinklage,
Yeah,
nice.
he's so cool.
That's
But
cool.
I think he plays bass, but I've seen him singing as well.
Oh, that doesn't count.
yeah.
Plays bass. How does Tyrion play bass? Does he have like a short scale?
I think so,
like
yeah.
A ukulele bass?
We're going to have to look onto that as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
later,
yeah,
but
that's one.
I remember Chrissy showed me that. It came up on Facebook and I just went down a rabbit hole of just seeing everything he'd been up to. Why not on the Game of Thrones vibe, man? What happened? Why'd you miss the train?
I don't know.
Look at Josh, absolutely glaring in.
It was.
Tell me,
my
Isaac.
parents started watching it, and this is when I was like an accountant in the day and like musician at night. So instead of watching Game of Thrones, I just sit in my bedroom playing guitar all the time because I couldn't do that in the daytime because I was at work.
Were you were you successful with accountancy? Were you doing all right with it?
Yeah, so I did an apprenticeship in like level 3 or whatever it was. So I'm a fully trained, qualified accounts assistant.
Were you happy in this part of your life?
The reason I stopped doing that was to go to uni to like pursue music.
Okay.
I
excellent.
wasn't unhappy in accounts or whatever, but I was doing music a lot on the side, and I was like, I kind of want to be doing that more.
Would you be happy if your full time was music, and it doesn't have to be performing, but it was just in some way you were just in the music scene, I suppose?
Oh yeah,
Is that what your ideals would be?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm getting into production quite a lot.
Cool.
Like since we started this project, I've really learnt a lot about like producing because we produce all our own stuff at the minute.
Ace.
Yeah.
We've got a single coming out in November, which is produced by someone else, but we did all the recording side of it. Like we recorded it all and we've sent it to someone else to be mixed and mastered.
Are you learning like through like YouTube tutorials then? How are
mostly
you finding out
there's
logic?
kind of 4 main sources, I suppose. One is like YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's really helpful for like just finding quick little bits. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of like blogs and just forums on like certain like compressor types and how to make a vocal stand out and that sort of thing. I'm part of a Facebook group like specifically for Logic users, and you'll find quite often that something interesting or really useful pops up in there that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about. Like, oh, how do you use this kind of plugin on this like instrument? And you're like, wow, you can use that on that. You know, like,
Yeah, I get ya.
you can put these things together, and then just going through the door and like actually just finding things for myself.
Yeah, I get ya.
Just
Yeah.
trial and error sort of stuff.
That's how I've learnt most of the stuff on Final Cut, like in filmmaking. I've just been sat there for a full day. I'm like, I'll put every effect on, see what this does. And you can literally just sit in a room for about like 5 hours.
God, yeah.
Going through the
Yeah.
night. I remember like Chrissy, my partner, was working at school
Yeah.
before Corona and that. And she'd go at like 8 in the morning and I go down, get my coffee, get my ritual sorted, sit there. And I'm like a little gremlin in this dark room. And then she comes back through the door at like 5:30 and I'm like, Are you back already?
Are you sure?
And you're just like, have you forgot your dinner or something like that? But you're just stuck, and that's when you know you found a passion, isn't it? Like, you're fully in the zone, you're fully in the moment, and you just have no concept of time because you're just in. Is that how you feel when you're producing and doing music?
Like, before I was with my partner and I was like living at home with my mum, I'd come in from work at like 5 o'clock. I'd have dinner. By 6 o'clock, I was up in my room, headphones on, just producing. And I'd look at the time when I was about getting ready to go to bed, and it was like 2 a.m. And I'm like, what on earth has just happened for the last 7 hours?
It's such a good feeling, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like I was producing like maybe a demo every other day for like when we were in Public Conscience. But that's all I did. I did the band and I did my job. So like everything, all my job just stayed at my job. So like 9 to 8 till 4 whenever I was there. Outside of that, my entire sort of time was just dedicated to the band sort of thing.
Yeah. Are you the same, Josh? Are you like
So I'm more
very
of a player.
passionate?
He's the production side of things.
Yeah.
But whenever I've got the time, I've always got a guitar in my hands. I prefer to play a lot. I practice though at least like 2 hours a day if I've got the time. You know?
Really?
It's one of those things where.
How many instruments can you play as well?
So I can play guitar, bass, a little bit of drums. I used to be okay, but it's been a very long time since I've played. And I sing, and I do a little bit of harmonica in my spare time when I'm a bit bored.
Just pop it out.
Yeah,
just
pop it out. Just pop it out. You know, Mrs. is telling me to shut up with that annoying thing. I'm just like, no.
I remember for school performance, I couldn't play any instruments, but I got a kazoo because I was the naughty kid and I was just like, I want to make noise. But I remember I took it home one day and I was just irritating my sister so much with it. I was going around a room and just like, and then I remember my dad just had enough of it. I know this moment. He just stormed into the room, goes, "What's that?" Grabbed it off me and just snapped it in front of me. I was just like, that was the one thing I just...
In an old band that I used to play drums in, I can't remember the name, our lead singer, we'd covered American Idiot, but the lead singer, instead of playing the solo on his guitar, he had his kazoo taped to his microphone, and he literally did the American Idiot solo through a kazoo.
Sorry, I just flipped this back on. Carry on.
Yeah, and that was like the weirdest thing you've ever seen, like a proper like punk band, heavy gain, than just a kazoo just playing a solo.
Ghost did an acoustic set. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
I thought it was all these years I've called it a kazoo, and it's a kazoo.
Yeah, kazoo.
Oh, mate. Oh, no.
At least we're learning. Educational.
I do little snippets of these podcasts, and I put like little 1 or 2 minute videos out, and that'll be our little snippet for this one. It's
That's
like the moment Mikey finds it was a kazoo all these years later. Have you had moments like that in your life where you've called something, or you've listened to lyrics from a song?
Yes, we've written one.
You can't do it on your own lyrics.
Loads.
So the SOS, the song Josh mentioned earlier, he wrote the lyrics, I wrote the music to it.
Okay.
So and one of the original lyrics he wrote was serotonin. That was one of the words in it.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that word before.
Right.
So I was like, okay, how can I make this fit?
We didn't fix this for like 3 years, bearing in mind. Like I told him, but he just didn't fix it for 3 years.
So I pronounced it serotonin.
I love it. Say what you see. Serotonin. Yeah.
And that was the way that word fit to the melody in my head.
How did it go?
I can't even remember, you know.
Can you take us on board, Josh?
Serotonin imbalance feels like I'll never win.
Yeah,
that's how he used to sing it.
Do it. What is it?
This serotonin imbalance feels like I'll never win is how he said it. We changed it in the end.
But then it would have been this serotonin. Yeah,
serotonin
it doesn't really
imbalance.
fit. Yeah, I see what
you can have to drag out the syllables a bit different.
Imbalance. Yeah, it would be a
so
weird,
we ended up changing that lyric to this chemical imbalance.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
Mate, do you know what? Like with poetry or writing spoken word, when you're just sitting there all day for this one word, and then suddenly it comes like, why didn't I think of that? It would have made the whole process so much easier.
It's the same with songwriting, definitely.
Yeah.
I was writing the other day. It was sat navigating, never getting nowhere. But it was just sounds nice. Do you know how you say it? Like musical, sat navigating, never getting nowhere. But all the time, like I was saying it. And I was talking, I wanted to talk about a car and like getting lost and trying to metaphorize that for like, you know, the mind.
Yeah, of course.
And when it came, when I said da 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 da, I was like, oh, it took me ages to say something so simple.
I love like mixing like slow, drawn out like melodies with like short bursts of like really quick, almost rap type.
Yeah. Do you do rap in your songs?
I do a bit. I do a little.
What's your fastest rap you've got, Josh?
Oh my god, I cannot rap. This is the crux here. I cannot rap. I just can do the bits that we write.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I've never really tried it before, and it just kind of ended up happening.
The first time we tried to rap was like about a month ago.
Do you go American when you do rap?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
You go very, is it Gerard Way? You go...
Gerard Way?
Yeah,
a little bit not on the rapping bit, but on the bit before the rap.
I'd consider that a rap anyway.
Do you think it's because like we're just so influenced by like Eminem and these big figures in
Linkin
the day?
Park are like the main rap that I will listen to. So
because we started up my first ever band that literally didn't do a gig, but we like set up the band. I was so excited as well.
Oh yeah,
always been there.
And there was 4 of us, and we're called Kid Called Goat, like greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Kid Called Goat. You
Yeah,
get it?
bang.
And it was just like a 4-piece rap artist.
Nice.
And again, one of us was really good rapper because he'd been doing it all this time, and he'd found his style, found his voice, cadence, everything. But us other 3 were all like poetry, spoken word. So to actually get on a beat, try and stay rhythmical with it, which is the irony of my name, Rhythmical Mike, with no rhythm. But then as soon as I could talk like this, and I'd be like, what would I say? It can happen, you know, you don't have to feel. And then as soon as they put the beat on, it's like, and it can happen, you know, you don't have to feel. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why have I gone American out of nowhere?
Yeah, a lot of my like, actual singing voice, I think, is very like heavily inspired by American pop punk.
The genre kind of lends itself to an American voice.
But then
anyway.
there's an element where you know if it's you or not as well, don't you?
Oh, well, yeah.
Because like I think some people can carry it off when it's like, you're not American. It's like, yeah, but they give that justice. They give the voice justice. It sounds nice when you hear it. Or you can tell when something's really contrived and it's just being put on.
Yeah, it shouldn't sound forced, even if it sounds a little bit wrong, necessarily.
Like, for me, if I'd have got on a stage, I would have looked like a plonker, because that just isn't me. It didn't feel right being me, and I knew it wasn't me.
This is why I haven't gone into a country music career yet.
Yeah. So there you go. You just got to find your flow.
Our old vocalist, Stephen from Take 96, his accent when he sings really comes through. He's northern, he's from like Burnley.
I love it when people use
his
their
accent comes through in his singing voice, and like you can really tell, but it really works.
It
That's
works
cool.
for him. It does. That's Take a Knee. Stephen Collins on Take a Knee.
Yeah, I do love it, Josh. I really do.
I'm not going to bring you next time, Josh.
No, honestly, he is going to be my hype man from now on as well. You get another job.
I've been offered a job as a hype man before, but you know.
You just need him in the background at all points. You're like talking about yourself a little bit in the music world, and he's like, and you can get this from Spotify over there. You're just like,
it's like the next most useless job after that guy that plays the mixer. We have a friend, he was a fan of Public Conscience, and he's in a band that have rehearsed about 3 times or something.
Okay,
You're doing okay.
Well,
You're doing better now.
Yeah, they're still...
You got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah.
Come on, Josh.
So they have a guy that that plays the mixer.
And the effects pedals now.
Oh, yeah. He turns it off and on their like pedals.
Do you know what? I want to be that guy though, because like I can't play anything,
cool
but
job.
I want to feel included. You know when everyone starts cheering,
It's
and
like
then you're
when
like,
they give you the triangle in big band class. It's the same kind of concept of you're included, dude.
I always feel this at school when the cool kids, but you'd be playing football, and then they get the other kid in goal, but they'd always tell him, "You're really good." Like honestly, as a keeper, no goals going when you're saying that. So like you always get him in goal. That's pretty much the same, innit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So can you use your music in wrestling? Are they allowing this?
Yeah, I could use it as entrance music or anything. Obviously, I own it, so
cool.
the only person that's allowing it is me. You know,
But even as your persona, can you be musical, Ginger Josh?
I could do if I wanted.
If you wanted
that.
to, yeah.
If I wanted to
but
do
do you
that,
think you're
I
going to
could.
keep it separate?
I wouldn't mind merging them a tiny bit, but I want to start separate and build a name in the other scene, the
Because
wrestling
could you
scene
imagine,
first.
like, Decade and a Day are on the stage
My
on
dream is
the
to
wrestling
co-promote
ring.
an event. I'd love to co-promote a wrestling and a music event,
So
like
cool.
big festival. That'd be perfect.
It's quite big
for
in
me.
Derby, isn't it, wrestling?
Yeah.
I've heard
Derby
there's a
Knots.
scene for it.
There is. There's
And
a
Knots.
Midlands scene just in general.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet at the minute, but it's gonna be, you know.
How, like, say to like pro level or semi-pro level, these areas, how many would go to a night?
Oh, to a show
Do
or
you
just
think
to,
like if Corona wasn't on and all that, do you think you'd have a few hundred there? Or?
probably 150, 200 to
Really?
a good show. Yeah, easy. A couple of people from around here make it as well. It's like it's not an area that's dead. So there's a guy called Joseph Connors who trained at my school, and he's with WWE now.
Really?
Yeah, they've got a
Making
developmental
bank.
company, NXT UK. And then there's a guy called Gabriel that trained as well, who's with New Japan, who's the biggest in the East. Big company.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The scene's alive.
How do you
and
get
it's thriving.
taken on like that if it's a big American company? Like,
Oh,
why?
you-
Do they have scouts?
You make it, yeah. They have talent scouts, and you have to
Wow.
make an impact, and you send tapes in 1,000 times a day. You know, you just annoy them until they hire you.
It's a crazy world, isn't it, Isaac?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, to me, it sounds like the old way that you used to get signed by a record label as
Yeah.
a band or whatever.
Yeah. It's still kind of stuck in that. It's like it's a handshake business. It's stuck a bit back in time, but kind of for the positive.
Yeah, I was
a
going to
little.
say, I kind of wish the music industry was a bit like that.
Yeah.
Although, there's positives and negatives to that. Like, producing your own music has never been so easy. Like, you can buy like a computer and an interface for less than like 500 quid and you can make an album.
Yeah.
Whereas before you had to pay like thousands, if not tens of thousands
And
of
that
pounds.
again, everything's got a byproduct, hasn't it? Because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for me, I think that's a beautiful thing because everybody's got access to it. Everyone can make what they want, put it on Spotify for however much, and promote themselves. But then people are like, oh yeah, but now the music scene's saturated and anyone can do it. And it's like, but isn't that the beauty
But
of
then
it?
you listen to what you like, and I'll listen to the
Yeah.
saturation
Yeah,
that I like. You know.
sounds ace. So just give people opportunities.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's great that everyone has that opportunity nowadays. But at the same time, I think it's kind of a bit of a drawback that you kind of have to do it all yourself. Like all the promotion stuff. If you were back in the day got signed by a label, like they'd cover all your promotional stuff, or your interviews, or your podcasts, or your whatever. Whereas now that's like all on you, and that can be really stressful trying to
It can.
do all of that.
I think you just got to meet the right heads along the way, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's
just
exactly it.
make connections. People struggle to network, don't they? They want to be on their own journey, yet don't want to be on their own journey.
But
Yeah.
you need
Yeah, I
those
get
pit
that.
stops. You know, you need.
Good people on the way.
Smile,
Do-
shake
do,
hands,
Do you
we
have
go.
that? Have you got like a close network around you that?
Not so much as I used to, I suppose. Like when I was very sort of in on this sort of acoustic scene, I had a lot of people around me then, like promoters that used to do like regular open mics or pre-booked stuff. I had a lot of people in around that scene. I suppose now we kind of have like, we have Jethro from your podcast. We're quite close with Chris that I mentioned earlier
And
from
Harvey as well,
Ike.
from Ike, yeah.
Oh yeah,
We've done a
Those
lot
boys.
with them. When we actually did a live stream right at the beginning of like this band, like June time sort of thing.
Like 2 months after we started, 3 months.
Yeah, we did a live stream through their Facebook page, which was pretty cool. That went really well considering we hadn't seen each other for about 2 months.
We hadn't seen each other through the lockdown.
We'd just been sending music to each other. We had a 20-minute rehearsal in the back of my car.
in the
before-
woods,
Back of the
in the
car,
middle of the
love it.
woods.
in the middle of the woods in my car. We were just playing guitar and like.
I bet there
going
were
through
some
this
questions
track.
asked that day by
We're
walking
actually
by.
outside of school, but luckily
Yeah.
it's closed. So.
It was like a closed down and abandoned school. Or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Thank
quite
God.
So we had like a 20-minute rehearsal. We went and did this live stream, and it went really well. Like these
Cool.
these are all
Were you performing
songs.
in the woods, like the
No.
live stream?
No, we
No.
did it in my grandparents' summer
Oh,
house.
okay, cool.
And I called it a shed on said live stream. My granddad stormed up the garden and was like, "It's not a shed, it's a summer house."
Yeah,
This was on
just to put you
camera.
in your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Thanks, granddad.
At least you're watching.
That's
you know?
live to the world."
So out of like all the music, bands and everything you've been in, solo stuff, is it when you're together, is that your favourite thing to
Yeah.
do? Is that the most
1,000%.
comfortability you have?
I think that's why I've written so much over like the last few months for this project because I'm enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
Like you know, when you're really like you're vibing with a project, you're really sort of in it,
feeling it. Yeah,
The music's
like,
good, and then
it kind of just all comes a bit quite naturally.
Have you got other like elements of where you're going with it next? Where you're going to expand with it?
Yeah, kind of. So
You're just waiting for what the world does.
yeah.
That's part A.
Yeah.
We have like plans for like obviously releasing music and recording it and stuff. So at the time this is released, we'll have a single coming out with a rap feature. That's like the first sort of element of rap you'll hear from us.
And then
You collaborate.
bridge, you know.
A rap feature. Does that mean you've collaborated with someone
Yeah,
else?
so there's a guy called Ashley. I think it's Curry. I'm not sure if it's Curie.
Cool. I feel like I've heard his name.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, quite possibly.
He's from Ilkeston.
Oh,
Ilkeston,
right, okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, he's just started. He does a lot with Abbey Lane Studios in Derby.
Right, yeah, I know it.
From what I've seen recently. Yeah, so he's a rap feature in that track.
Any good?
Yeah,
fantastic.
he's a
Blew
lot
me
better
away.
than us. Like vocally, I'll give him
He's
that.
found his flow and voice.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he ever did have it.
Absolute dream to work with.
fantastic.
He's like so professional. It makes me think like all we do is basically tell dick jokes.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are
Hang
we
on
doing?
a minute, what's wrong with that?
How did we get here?
That's all I want.
But no, yeah, he is absolutely sound. So that's like the first sort of element of rap you'll hear from us. But we have got a couple of more tracks on the upcoming album that like sort of feature that sort of sound.
We also changed tuning for the album.
Yeah, so we have like your standard / drop tuning that a lot of like punk bands use, but then we've kind of started to experiment a bit with tune-ins.
Okay.
And you'll hear some songs in it's FACGCE.
Right,
So like
okay.
some strings are standard. One is like tuned up, or two are tuned up like half a step, and one's tuned down.
Right,
And it's
I
like,
get ya.
It's really weird, but it sounds
These are
fucking cool.
really good technical
Creates-
terms that I get a gist of, but I'm not fully in with. So
It creates
I'm,
an F major 7 chord.
oh right,
It's like
I've heard that's a
painted-
good one.
Quite legit. Yeah, some top tracks with it. I'd compare it to painting, but with a canvas that's already coloured in. So if you were to get a pre-coloured canvas that's like pre-blue, let's say,
Okay.
it's kind of like that, where the sound is influenced by the tuning, just like the painting will be influenced by the blue.
Is this what you guys are trying to do on the whole? Is like just try everything out, just
Try it.
work
Yeah,
out.
we're not like limiting ourselves to just one sort of sound. You know, we kind of our EP is very, very, very pop punk.
That's our home.
In
Pop
like
punk's home.
in like its rawest form. Then the two standalone singles that we've got coming. One's very sort of emo-y, sort of rap kind of Linkin Park-ish sort of
Ish, yeah.
vibe, like
yeah.
in a sense. And then
What, a bit more like minor, sort of like down.
Yeah.
bit emo-y.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll feel
And
it.
then
You know,
the
got
one
things
after
Back
that
in the
is
day, I had like jet black hair, you know,
Same,
like, and all
yeah.
the slip
Then we've got
stuff. So.
another one coming out after that that's kind of very ballady. It's in like in a waltz sort of vibe. Very predictable melodies in a very sort of pop. Or
I really
very,
love hearing like bands describe their own stuff.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
kind of-
like
It's interesting. The
sometimes
word.
it is so hard to put words on it, isn't it?
And
You-
I can't think what it is. Very mainstream. if you
Yeah,
had to-
yeah.
Yeah.
That sort of vibe.
Giving the fans what they want.
When me and Isaac get married, like together, we're going to slow dance to it. That'll be our
Hello,
first
lads.
dance.
Like it.
And then,
yes,
like,
yes.
The album is a complete mix of like just raw pop punk, like very emo, My Chem sort of heavier stuff. Few screams in there.
Couple.
Who is the main vocalist, or do you just take
It is
into
completely
just-
split.
Split,
Yeah,
split.
it's,
Split,
we have
whatever we
songs
feel.
where I just sing. There are songs where he just sings, and a lot of the time we just mix it up, like we have done in the last first two singles.
But like you say, this feels serious because you want it to go somewhere, but also you're just absolutely loving it, and it is a passion
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, if it doesn't
at
go
heart.
anywhere, I'm not going to cry. It's that kind
Really?
of thing where
Yeah, so back to that mindset of I'm just really having fun. If
Yeah,
it goes somewhere,
yeah.
that's wicked. Like,
That's probably where it mainly comes from, though. When it actually does go somewhere, is because you can feel the audience feels that passion, that love for it. Like
and that's why bands that are going for like 10 years, for instance, they make it after those 10 years because they learn to stop kind of caring as much about making it, and they care more about the music.
As a just somebody in the audience or somebody who loves music, when I go and watch a band and they're dead cocky or like they've literally just put me off them, and I'm like, I bloody love your music. Why you got me knobheads? Just like, but if I've seen people that aren't your stereotypical like quality or level, whatever people's levels are, but then they've been vibing, having a good time, just being silly, back and forth in, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, the Naughty Boys.
Do you know what I mean?
Naughty Boys from Sheffield. They were one of those.
So
really?
We played at a venue called West Street Live in Sheffield quite a few times, and when we were in public, we played there twice. And both of those nights, we supported a band called the Naughty Boys.
They were great.
It was just
and did they live by their name?
They did like pop punk covers of 90s songs.
Naughty songs.
Oh.
That's why they were called the Naughty Boys.
I'm sure some of the songs they covered were the 90s.
This is like the kazoo moment. For Isaac, this is like my kazoo moment. It's like, it's all dropped.
I'm getting confused with the tribute band I saw called the Naughty 90s.
Right.
And they did 90s and noughties.
Yeah.
But they did Skater
Gay Boy.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
So they covered obviously Avril Lavigne's Skater Boy, but like the lyrics were like, he was a boy and he was a boy. Can I make it any more
I
obvious?
see where this is going.
He was like,
Yeah.
They like covered Shania Twain and like just the most ridiculous shit.
I
but in,
really
like,
love humorous music.
Damn straight.
they know their shit, like, but that's what makes them funny because they'll be bantering on stage. The guitarist can barely play guitar and can barely sing, but it's just funny and like a laugh to watch.
I went to a gig and I remember this guy was so funny and he's just, like, his humour was just on point, but he's taking the mick out loads of things, and then this woman just like got so angry. I remember this moment and I was like, but he's taking the mick out of everything and he's just having a good time. Can we not use this space as a space that we can just escape, have a laugh, not think too seriously?
It's a show.
And just let him have his platform, and when he comes off, he's still like really homophobic and horrible and being nasty. Like we can have a conversation then.
Yeah.
But on a stage where you're giving a show and just being a performer, just let it ride. Let
definitely.
As long as you're not actually hurting anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a guy I like called have you heard of Stephen Lynch or Stephen Lynch?
No.
He's from
No, I don't
America.
think I have.
And he has just got some of the like most hilarious songs, but they're really bad. Like they're stuff you shouldn't ever, like South Park.
Yeah.
It's all satire, and you're really not supposed to think that. But that's his point. That's why he does it, and it's so funny.
Have you heard of Tim Minchin?
Oh god,
He's
I've been to
funny.
see him twice.
Oh my god, I wish. My brother,
What a genius!
my niece and nephew are both named after his kids.
I bet
My
you're into
brother
the
loves him
Ginger
that
song,
much.
aren't you? Is
Of
that what
course
got you
I am.
into it?
Of course it is.
I remember when he came into like sixth form one day and like showed me this song, I was like, that is so you.
Yes, yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't write it, but
Have you heard the 9-minute beat poem as well, Storm?
yeah.
Oh, it's so clever. Like the whole way through that, and he's so musical, isn't he?
Yeah,
he
he
can
is,
pick
yeah.
up an instrument.
I mean-
gets the quiet. I cried at his show. I didn't know he was
wow.
so bloody genius. Like he takes you on a journey.
He does. I love watching him. I love
So
watching him miss
daft, and then like nonsensical stuff.
The song "Con." That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Context.
And then later on, he actually, like, I think one of their performers died that month.
Oh,
and they did, like, but a beautiful tribute thing. So he's just taking you on this ride, and then suddenly, like, it's something that actually means something. You're like, okay, like, we've had all the laughing, and now it's just
I
beautiful
like
what
shows
music
like that.
can
Not
do.
necessarily even like in a musical sense, but like comedy shows, for example. Like a really good comedy show will take you on like, ups
journey.
and downs. Like I rewatched a few days ago Dave Gorman's Google Whack Adventures.
I've not seen him yet, no.
Oh,
Please send me some links, though.
I will do. So
Yeah.
basically, it started like way back in like 2001. I'm talking like it's really old. But he set out on a mission to meet a load of other people called Dave Gorman.
That's a good start.
And then a couple of years later, he got an email from someone saying, "Oh, hi Dave, did you know you're a Google Whack?"
Is this why Nicole messaged me about
Yes.
Google Wax? Okay.
What's a Google Wax?
So if
Sorry.
you
Yeah.
put two words into Google and search, they have to be words in the dictionary.
Right.
Search it, and it comes back with one result.
Oh.
Just the one on the entire internet, that's a Google Whack.
Oh, wow, okay. Google Whack.
Yeah, so
Sick.
he then was like, well, what's a Google Whack? So then he's like, well, I've got to find another Google Whack. So we found one, and he emailed this guy like, did you know you're a Google Whack? And then he was like, what's a Google Whack? And this chain started.
Took everyone down the game.
This first invented it.
The first Google Whack he found, they stayed in contact. Like they were emailing to him from. Then he got an email from that guy, like saying he was in the same city as him. Like, do you want to meet for a coffee? They met. He found a Google Whack, and they're like, "Oh, we've got to email him." So he's like, "Okay." So he emailed him. And the second Google Whack was actually one of the other Dave Gormans from the previous story.
Wow.
Oh my God.
It all full circled.
Well, that's just the start. Like the whole thing behind it is that second Dave Gorman challenged him to meet 10 Google Whacks in a row. Like, you've got to find one, and then that Google Whack's got to find you one. And he went like all over the world and like met 10 Google Whacks in a row.
I'm lost.
I'm in.
I'll send you a link to it later. It's like 2 hours long or something, but watch it. It's
and
good.
to what point does he go on this journey? You were talking about sort of like the journeys of a show.
It's like talking about how like he really didn't want to do this because he was like in his 30s and he was like, I should be serious now. I'm going to write a novel. And then
I get you.
Got all this money from a publisher to write a novel, and he spent it all on plane tickets meeting his Google Whacks. Then like these Google Whacks won't be able to find any, and he'd have to go back to the start of the chain and start again. And it's like ups and downs of I'm halfway there and I'm not even trying, and then he fails, and then it's very emotional, but it's funny at the same time.
That's entertainment, especially entertainment that wants to give a message out. Like, I think one of my favourite quotes is, if you really want people to change or think about changing, make them laugh. But that's like, in whatever way you want to do that, you've just got to take them on this roller coaster of a ride. And if you just go to people, do better, change, be angry at them, I'm just going to back off and say, I'm all right, you know. But if you can
smile.
Yeah, make them laugh, make them cry, make them think, have a genuine connection. That's when you've got chance of real change from coming.
If you're making like a genuine argument towards it as well, like if you're saying you need to change because I don't agree with you, then you're like, what you on about, mate? But if they go, oh, you need to change because I don't agree, but this is why, and give you some sort of context,
Got base,
and you go, actually. You're either going to go, actually, I completely disagree with that, fuck you.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go,
you had some.
Actually, you have kind of got a point. Like, maybe there's some bits you disagree with, but there are other bits that kind of make a little bit of sense. And you're like, I can see where you're coming from.
You're not too much of an idiot. I can deal with this. Right, guys, I have got to pick up my van. Okay, you know, guys, as the arts is pointless and I'm not going to schools anymore and all that because I got no jobs, I'm a man with a van. So if you want any help or want things picking up, you've got Mikey Markham at the end of the phone.
Now who's plugging?
Yeah, the only thing, I've not plugged any of my own stuff, not the podcast or the music, but I have got a white van. So Decade in a Day, where can people find all your stuff? Where can they go?
We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify.
At Decade in a Day.
Just all Decade
on anything.
In a Day.
Decade and a
That's
Day.
part of the reason we're choosing the name, because there aren't anyone else called Decade in a Day.
Did you spend a whole... I bet there was some great names coming through and you're like,
Moist.
There's another one.
Moist.
One of our old bands we were going to call Moist.
We are trees.
Do you know, like, you've been told to hate that word?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh, isn't it a horrible word? It is horrible, though, isn't it? I do listen
it's
to it.
up there with the word blancmange for me.
Blancmange.
Blancmange.
My other half hates the word crevice.
I can totally get on board with that as well.
Portfolio.
Yeah.
I don't like portfolio either.
I just hated pump for a while.
Yeah.
Just a little bit too airy-fairy. You
I
don't
think
know
that's
what-
one of those words, if you say it too many times, you're just like, what does that word even mean
that's
anymore?
words. What's the point anyway?
But yeah, Decade in a Day, if you want to use the ampersand or the word and, both will work.
Excellent. They're going to find you. Anything else you want to plug, Josh?
Sertraline Showers comes out on the 9th of October.
That will already be
It will
out.
already be out on the 9th of October on our Spotify.
And I believe today is the day that our single with Ashley Curry called Remember to Hate Me comes out as well.
So remember to hate us, remember to hate him, and we're Decade in a Day.
Guys, you've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus sessions with Decade in a Day, Isaac, Josh. Big love, guys.
Nice one.
Stay real.